Hey everyone. Hey YouTube family. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Transition to Transform. And today we do have a podcast episode called Healing Conversations, Episode 4. And today we're gonna be talking about healing from uh relational rejection wounds. Okay. And so y'all, I feel like every time that I go live and talk about me healing, it can be very I don't know if intimate is the right word or personal. Okay, I'm gonna be telling you guys a lot about who I am. I'm gonna be real personal with a lot of things that I've done been through because I'm gonna be obedient. Okay, I really don't want to share certain things, but you know what? I know that my obedience is going to pay off, and I know that someone out there could really receive what it is that um what I'm getting ready to say. Okay, not only is this just a podcast on me, telling you all about my personal life and my story and my testimony, but it's also going to be very edifying because I'm going to tell you about how I overcame it, how I overcame relational rejection wounds, what I realized about the fact that I even had rejection wounds, dealing with relationships, and this is outside of family, you guys, okay? And now that I'm older, I can look back and not make the same mistakes, okay? And so I'm just, I'm excited, y'all. Um, and I didn't realize that the last time that I had went live with this podcast series was in 3 months. Either 3 months or 3 weeks. It was one of those two. But I was like, it's no way. It's no way. I was literally just live doing a podcast, but hey, it's okay, y'all. I'm back. Okay. And I'm gonna give y'all a couple of minutes to come in before I begin. How is everybody doing today? Happy month of Adar. I hope everybody's having a blessed day, blessed month, blessed week. Hey, welcome. That's awesome. Y'all, when I tell you my life has been so busy, like I've been trying to be more consistent when it comes to content creating, but it seems to me that like I post a lot more reels than I do like live podcasts or like live streams. And I'm really trying to get back onto my groove and like really start being more consistent. So y'all please be patient with me. Your girl is not in full-time ministry yet. But I'm getting there, okay? We gonna get there. But that's neither here nor there, y'all. I work a full schedule, y'all. Like being Danae, like y'all don't understand. Like having to do the work of the Lord, like podcast and creating content and go to work. I have to juggle all these things and be a dog mom and a wife. Like y'all, it's a lot. But I'm not gonna complain because at least I get to do these things, y'all. But I have to learn to manage my time and to just push through the times when I don't want to go live, when I don't want to make content. Because I swear I have a lot of moments like that. And the Lord had to check me like, Danae, you're being disobedient. I'm like, oh, snatch my edges back then. Oh my God. So, yeah, y'all. Do y'all like my nails? Let me know in the comment section if y'all like my nails. I know it's about to be spring. So I was like, let me just do something like a new color. I was like, maybe I should go with teal. Y'all, I got bamboozled, or I just don't know my colors because I thought that this was teal, but my coworker said it looks green or mint, and I'm just like, okay, it kind of do give mint. But it's okay. I actually like this color. I'm trying to go for something bright because I'm a very extra bright person. If you know, you know. So yeah. Hey, y'all, let me know where you guys are coming in from as you guys are entering into the chat, okay? I'm about to begin my podcast shortly. I just wanted to know who's watching, where y'all tuning in from, and how y'all doing today. Hey, Winston. Hey, Justin. Hey, Costine. Hi. Hey, Touch. How y'all doing today? Y'all, when I tell you, I had such a busy day today. Such a busy day. So, I'm going to give y'all 20 more seconds to come in before I begin. And have y'all been noticing I've been trying to switch up my content? Like, I've been trying to, for those of y'all that know who I am, right? For those of y'all that don't, let me introduce myself. Hey everyone, my name is Danae, and I am the owner of this YouTube channel, of course, right? And one special fact about me is that I am transgender and I am called by the Lord to preach the word of the gospel and to reach out to the rejected ones that everybody wants to reject and push them to the back and push them to the side. The ones that are the black sheeps of the family, the ones that felt neglected, rejected. I'm talking to the ones that have felt like they were the outcast. Okay, that is the group and the audience that I myself am called to and reaching. Okay, we're not preaching to the choir, we're not preaching to the church. We are talking to the ones that feel rejected, which is the whole purpose of this podcast series called Healing Conversations. Okay, and for those of you guys that may be LGBTQ, you understand what struggles that we go through with the walks of life that we live. We are always rejected by society, we're always oppressed. And so I'm the voice for the rejected, okay? And so, y'all, today's podcast title is, again, Healing Conversations, Episode 4, Healing from Relational Rejection Wounds. Okay, so this podcast series is not going to be focused on family relations, but more so intimate relationships and friendships. Okay, and any other ships out there when it comes to working with each other or other people, society, but this is not involve family relationships. We actually already talked about that in the most previous podcast episode. And if you have not watched that yet, make sure that you go watch that podcast episode because I gave so much like gems, so much of me into these podcast episodes, y'all. Like, these things that I say on my podcast, y'all, it is really what I went through, and it requires me to be very vulnerable with you guys. And so I appreciate everyone that supports, everyone that loves on me, everyone that is for me, because in this world, it's made for everyone to be up against me. As a transgender a transgender young woman that is a child of God. Okay, so if you for Danae, God bless you. I love you, my brothers and sisters, always. Okay, y'all my fam. And so, y'all, I want to, um, you can still preach the love of God. Thank you. Well, I will say this, Talia, okay? I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, everyone should be gay. Hey, everyone should be trans. It's really not a lifestyle that you can really choose, especially when you're transgender, because me of a trans experience, I did not have a choice to be transgender because when I was growing up as a young woman, I would look at myself in the mirror and I would have gender dysphoria. Okay. And so that was me rejecting myself. I would look at myself in the mirror and like, I want to change this about myself. I don't really like how I look. I would begin to shame myself and look really down on myself because I had that feeling. Y'all ever had that feeling when you look yourself in the mirror and maybe you're like you don't like what you got on, you feel like you're overweight, or you want to gain more weight, or you want to just fix the way that you look, but it really eats you up on the inside out. It's kind of the same thing with transgender women, with trans men, trans women, but the difference is that it's more like it's instilled in us, like when we don't become the woman that we envision ourselves to be, it eats us up so bad. Like, it's so many people that commit suicide because they feel like they can't be themselves. They really feel like they cannot be themselves. And so I'm for the people that are grown, that can be themselves, that feel I'm for the people, for grown people wanting to be themselves. Even younger folks, be yourself. If people don't like it, oh well. Okay? Because I done been there. I done been rejected by society, my family, myself. I rejected myself. I have been through so many things, you guys. And honestly, I really feel like with being a part of the LGBTQ community and being called by God, like the church does not like that. They think that we are alive from the pits of hell, coming to deceive, kill, and destroy, and to just cause perversion and lust. And it's just like, this is really given very much when Jesus went and rebuked the Pharisees and Sadducees because they're worried about the wrong things. God's worried about your heart and about your relationship with Him, not how well can you perform. I'm not into performing. I'm very extra. I am transgender. And whether you can clock me by my voice, by my face, by my hands, it don't really matter. You can clock me all day long. At the end of the day, I'm living in my truth, and I'm bold in my truth. I love Jesus Christ. He did call me, and I'm sent to speak up for the ones that can't. Okay? Anyhow, y'all, I need to get on with this podcast because I do get other things to do. Okay? But that's a little bit about me, y'all. Okay? So, something that really came on my mind that I really want to talk about when it comes to relational rejection wounds is when I was younger, y'all, like at this time in my life, I was still in the closet, right? And one thing about Danae, baby, she was friends with all the pretty girls. I was friends with all the pretty girls. It's just something about pretty girls that I just love being their friend. So I would be their friend, right? And I noticed that I felt like I had to perform to keep a friendship, right? Oh, y'all, I don't even want to begin to talk about that. Shut up, talk about that guy. Okay, I will. I felt like I had to perform, not only to maintain a friendship, but to also withhold an image that I wanted to hold up because I was so scared to be who I was at that time. I was only like probably 11, 12 years old, right? So I found myself having to perform a lot. I performed up until the age of 14. 15 years old was when I really was like standing on my business. Like, this is who Danae is. I had to advocate for myself because there was so many days and nights where I wanted to cry and commit suicide and all these things, you guys. But that's neither here nor there. Um, yeah, y'all. So I found myself having to perform a lot to become friends with certain individuals. And I found myself performing so much to be friends with someone, and I had a best friend at the time that I was performing for, and I was like buying her stuff and stealing stuff just to make her happy, right? Turn around, right? This girl done set me up. She done set me up, and this is a cisgender woman. Okay, she set me up, and I got and jumped and robbed by two older men. One was 18 and one was 22, and I was 11 years old. And so from that point moving forward, I had this perception in my mind towards women, toward, and y'all, I'm just gonna be so completely honest. Like, this was me back then. I love women now. I love men now. I love everyone. But it's just me telling my own personal testimony because I feel very led to talk about this. I felt some type of way that, like, dang, my own best friend set me up. I was so traumatized, y'all. I was so traumatized that I thought that all women was the same. They're all gonna set me up. They're all weird. They're all fake. I didn't want to be friends with girls at no more after that. And then for me to get jumped by two men, and mind you, one of them was supposed to be my friend, and I got robbed by him and beat real bad. I could have died that day, y'all. The enemy had it out for me real bad. I was walking to my school bus at 6 a.m. and it was still dark outside. I was walking by myself. And they got me. They got me. Okay. And so, yeah, like ever since then, it really took me a very long time to be able to trust people. And this is where rejectional wounds come in because just like y'all was my friends. I was trying to please y'all. No matter how hard I tried to please y'all, y'all rejected me. But y'all didn't just reject me. Y'all jumped me. You harmed me. You put your hands on me. You robbed me. Okay? And then as I began to get older and I began to walk in the woman that I am today, it was like society all around me was all up against me. It was like all the men at that. And when I was in high school, it was always the men and the women that wanted to put their hands on me. They wanted to fight me. They wanted to bully me. They wanted to see me dead. They would try to follow me. They would try to harass me. Y'all, I grew up like, I don't understand why my upbringing was the way it was, but now I understand. The enemy tried to really take me out ever since I was younger, y'all. Like, high school, all the boys wanted to jump on me, beat on me. I remember it was this one guy in high school. He deliberately got in front of me and tripped me over and over and over again. And then when I would try to say something to him, he would fake try to like fight me, but then like back up. Like, it was just so weird, y'all. Like, I done been through so much stuff, you guys. I can't believe I'm talking about this right now, God. But yeah, y'all, like I done gotten jumped, beat, robbed, all these things. So it really grew a mold on me like, dang, I cannot trust nobody. So because I couldn't trust nobody, when I began to make friends, my trauma would pour out onto them. I wouldn't know how to be a good friend. I would always think that they're after to come to get me. I would always think that I would overextend myself. I felt like they wasn't really my friends for real. I felt like I was being chosen last. I felt like even when I was loved correctly, it still felt like uncomfortable love. I still felt like these friends are really not for me because if my best friend can turn on me, Lord knows who else can turn on me. So guess what happens? Hurt people. I began to hurt the people around me. Not like physically, of course, but like I wasn't being the best friend that I could be to my friends. And yeah, like it was just such an evil time for me when I was growing up, you guys. Like, but when I turned like 16, 17, when I went into like my freshman year of high school, I was in this school called St. Charles High School in Maryland, and I felt so peaceful there. I felt so loved, so belonged there. Like, nobody really messed with me. I felt like I just wasn't judged. It was something about St. Mary's County, okay? St. Mary's County in Maryland, baby. Don't let you be gay. Don't let you be trans. Don't let you be anything but heterosexual because they will jump on you. And they try to do that to me. But I had to move away, right? By the grace of God, He moved me away because I was getting into so much fights. Oh my gosh, y'all! Every time that somebody tried to play with me or like be like my friend, but they would say something I didn't like, I would want to fight them. Like I was always on my 10 toes, ready to put my hands on somebody or to tell on somebody, or I was scared. Like y'all, I was in survival mode for my life. I don't know who else can relate to that. Like y'all, has anyone else been attacked from a very young child, like almost killed? Because I know I can't be the only. I cannot be the only one. I know I can't. I know it. I know for a fact that like my LGBTQ community members, they definitely went through the same thing before. But I was raised in a family where you don't say nothing. You just be seen, be quiet, and let things slide. So even when I wanted to fight, I really was hesitant to fight. But I was so angry, so bitter, and so envious that I was just everywhere, y'all. So as I got older and I began to walk in my purpose with the Lord, He started to teach me how to get out my comfort zone. Right? I had to learn how to talk to people, and I began to put myself into uncomfortable circumstances with other men and women my age or even older to talk to them like normal people. And y'all, when I tell you, like, still to this day, when I get into a room, not so much with women, but mostly with men. When I'm in a room with another male and they don't know me, it's like something inside of me is on defense mode. Like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to look at you. I just feel so like, I very much feel like what is going to happen here? Like, I feel so scared. I do be feeling scared, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know if they're gonna put their hands on me. I don't know if they think I'm pretty, or they're gonna clock my teeth, or they want to sexualize me. Like I don't know. Like especially being trans, y'all. Like people love to sexualize trans people. If they don't want to kill you, they want to have sex with you. If they don't want to have sex with you, they want to harm you. It's just it's just like so oppressed being a part of the community. And I feel like because of that, I also rejected myself a lot, y'all. Like, I didn't feel comfortable with even talking about my transition. Like, it took a very long time for me to even want to come out on here and to really just like wear the fact that I'm trans on my sleeve and really expose that part of me because I feel like that part of me got damaged so much that I'd rather just be stealthy. I'd rather just be Danae. Because the moment that I tell people that I'm trans, they start freaking out, tweaking out, or wanting to put their hands on me or trying to kill me and stuff. Like it's just so bad, y'all. Like it's not the best, okay? But I love being Danae. I love being a woman. I love everything that comes with this walk. It's not a cakewalk, but it's I really like my walk because if you really think about it, Jesus had to go through the same thing that I went through. No, my bad. At the other way around. I had to go through what Jesus went through. I had to go through the persecution, the rejection, the slander, the mocking, all at a very young age, y'all. Okay? And I made it out. I made it out to the point where now I'm mentally strong, mentally prepared. I'm so like I'm above all the angry, the bitterness, the enviness, all these things that I once was before. So now I'm able to really talk about stuff like this with other people, right? And so, y'all, um, now now that you guys know what I like that story, okay, I'm going to begin to talk to you guys about the healing process. Okay, that was just a story that I feel very led to share. So let's talk about what creates relational wounds. Okay, if y'all see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes when it comes to talking about this topic. Okay, so these wounds form when connection is offered and then withdrawn or when vulnerability is met with indifference or harm. Common sources include being ghosted, abruptly cut off or discarded, repeatedly being chosen last or replaced, emotionally unavailable or inconsistent affection, betrayal, gossip, or public embarrassment, being valued only for what you give give, not who you are, and then feeling unseen, unheard, or too much / not enough. Over time, your nervous system will learn connection is unsafe. That kind of sounds like what I went through myself, yo. Like, I done been through all those things, honestly. And it made me feel like connection was not safe. And so, many of you guys can relate to that as well. Like, I know sometimes, like, even now, um, I remember when I used to have friends. I have friends now, of course, not too many of them. But speaking back and like when I had like specific friends, I don't know, like they would abruptly cut me off out of nowhere, or like, let me see, gossip about me, embarrass me, or just be inconsistent. Like all these things that I just said, y'all, I don't experienced it all. Okay, and comment in the comment section down below if you have too. And so these things can really affect you because now how you're gonna always carry your experience from one place to another place, right? And so you guys, like, it's so important that we can identify these things so that we can overcome them. We want to. The goal is to become healed, but in order for us to become healed, we have to acknowledge what it is that we feel, what it is that we're going through. Okay, and so stuff like relational rejection could sound like you blaming yourself, like you're not enough. I'm easy to leave. Um, if I'm myself, people won't stay. Maybe people made you feel like you can't be yourself. You are like it's almost like you kind of blame yourself. I kind of blame myself for a very long time too because I felt like, dang, like if I become somebody that I'm not, if I am, putting on a mask, I'm unhappy, but I'm making the world happy. But when I take off my mask and I be myself, it's just like, dang, all y'all don't want to be my friend, and it really hurts me a lot because I remember when I first came out, everybody stopped being my friend, you guys. When I was 11, 12 years old and people found out that I was trans, they cut me off. They said, okay, well, snip. They said they didn't want people to think that they were gay for being my friend, etc. Or the girls would try to be my friend and then want to put their hands on me because, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, when I was young, I was cute. Okay, I'm still am cute. But when I was younger, girl, baby boy, baby girl, I was the T, I was the bomb.com, I was the Blasian baby. Okay? I was always cute, but I always had a mouth. Right. Now I know how to control my mouth. But that's neither here nor there. I begin to blame myself a lot because it's just like, dang, if I tell y'all that I'm trans, like, y'all gonna stop being my friends, so why not just be DL, just not tell nobody? But it ate me up on the inside because I knew one day I had to come out the closet. Okay, one day I have to start living for myself. One day I have to stop caring what people gotta say. And so I had to learn that over time. It was very hard. It was a very difficult lesson for me to learn, but I had to learn how to be okay with being by myself. I had to learn to be okay with knowing that not everyone's gonna want to be my friend, you know? And a lot of the times, the reason why people don't want to be your friend when you choose to be yourself is because they're scared of what other people gotta say. They're scared of people's opinions as well, right? So that's just a little food for thought. And so instead of hyper vigilance, instead of trying to scan for signs of rejection, right? Because that's ultimately self-sabotaging relationships. All right. So instead of consistently scanning for signs of rejection, ask yourself, is this relationship reciprocal? Do I feel safe being honest? And are my needs respected here? You have to stop chasing consistency from inconsistent people. 1 minute they're your friend, and 1 minute they not. 1 minute they talk about you, the next minute they talking nice about you. 1 minute they text you, the next minute they ghost you. 1 minute they're talking nice about you, 1 minute they're dissing you. Y'all, it's so important that we do not make people who we want them to be, but to accept them but to accept them for who they already are. It's already enough that you're being rejected. But you do not need to reject yourself by allowing other people to just step on you like a dirty mat. You feel me? Because if your answer to those three questions is no, then you don't need to be their friend. And if you still choose to be their friend after you said no to these things, you're people pleasing. And I'm gonna tell you something. Who is it to say that they will ever be pleased with you? Who is it to say that they will ever be pleased with you? So we have to learn to cut them off, y'all, okay? I had to learn these things the hard way because, baby, I used to once say no to them quiet questions, and I knew that they wasn't good for me, but I would still be their friend. I would still have sex with them. I would still be their counterfeit partner, knowing that that's really not meant for me. I was settling for less. And one thing I noticed is that when you settle for less, God will block you will block your own blessings. God will literally not give you access to your new until you let go of the old. Okay? And so I feel like many people, including myself, I'm very much the kind of person, and I still kind of am like this. I'm still trying to learn to overcome this. Is like allowing myself to grieve over their friendship instead of just being like, oh, okay, well they left. Well, next book, next friend, next chapter, next sentence. I have to because I'm gonna talk about myself right now. I have to learn to accept the grieving process. Allowing myself to heal from it, allowing myself to sit down with myself and be like, yo, Danae, like, dang, y'all really stopped being friends. What happened? Just you have to come to a realization sometimes, you guys. Like we can't just keep living in a world where we know the problem and then skip over it and just act like we didn't play a part. Everybody has a part in a argument, in a fallout, somehow, somewhere, right? So my next point is grieve what you didn't receive. This part is often skipped, but it's essential. Healing includes mourning friendships that ended without closure, acknowledging the pain of not being chosen, and allowing anger and sadness without self blame. Grief releases attachment to the wound. So when we can acknowledge these things and accept it for what it is that we did not receive instead of making people or having this delusion in our minds that that these people are people that we want them to be, but their actions show as otherwise. We can't keep living that fantasy, you guys, okay? Because it's only gonna hurt you more. But when you can accept what you did not receive, that grief attachment that grief releases attachment to the womb. So now you're no longer really like you're still healing, of course, but you're no longer like having an open wound. You accepted it. You're trying to put some neosporin and a band-aid over top of it. But what happens is when you don't acknowledge it is you're just like, okay, well I have a cut open sore, so let me just keep walking around. The next friendship comes and you're just picking at it, and then next thing you know, you're bleeding. But you're not just bleeding for yourself. You're bleeding onto other things, other people, other parts of your clothes. You're bleeding out. So it's so important that we acknowledge the grieving process, you guys, okay? And then after we accept what we did not receive, now it's time for us to relearn how to receive. Okay, now this is something that the Lord within these past 3 years has been dealing with me about, was teaching me how to receive, right? And so one of the deepest markers of healing is comfort with being cared for, accepting affection without suspicion, letting others show up without testing them, and believing consistency is possible. Now, you guys, the complete opposite of this is being suspicious of affection and testing people when they show up for you, and believing that consistency is impossible, right? And in a way, that's kind of believing that there's no one really for you, that it's too good to be true. I know I had that feeling so many times, you guys. But when the right friend, when the right person comes over you, you're gonna know that that person is really meant for you, because y'all are gonna click. It's not gonna be a forced thing. It's not gonna feel like you are shrinking yourself to make someone else happy. You're truly being yourself. But in order for us to be able to receive that, we have to be healed. We have to heal ourselves. So that means that when your friend shows up for you, don't sabotage that, y'all, because I'm guilty as charged. I had many friends, y'all, when I was like 17, 18, and I sabotaged a lot of my friendships because I thought that they were not really my friend. And the thing is, I unconsciously did that. I was so hurt that I didn't even know that I was hurt. So I began to move as if I was hurting and painting and then bleeding on other people, and then not on and then didn't nobody want to be my friend. So it's so important that we learn how to receive, accepting affection without suspicion, letting others show up without testing them, and believing consistency is possible. Okay? Now, let's talk about what it means to heal from relational rejection. Healing is not forgetting or minimizing what happened. It is reclaiming your internal stability, so rejection no longer defines you or controls how you attach. Okay? I'm gonna say that again because I feel like that was such a powerful statement. Healing is not forgetting or minimizing what happened. It is reclaiming your internal stability, so rejection no longer defines you or controls how you attach. So when you're hurt, instead of you being like, "Why me? Why me? What did I do? I don't deserve love. I don't this." Instead of being the one to do that, and I'm not making fun of no one that does that, but instead of crying to yourself and thinking that you should be the blame of it, know that God's rejection is God's protection, and that you cannot allow that rejection to define you, because people are gonna like you and people are not gonna like you too. So just be yourself, okay? Healing looks like separating your worth from others' choices. Learn to say someone's inability to love me does not mean that does not mean I'm unlovable. This is huge because rejection wounds confuse others. This is huge because rejection wounds confuse another person's limitations with your value. Okay, so we gotta stop speaking death over ourselves because that relationship did not work out. If it didn't work out, it was not for you, child of God. Okay. Re-regulating your nervous system around closeness. Instead of anxiously chasing connections, emotionally shutting down, or overgiving to feel secure, begin to tolerate uncertainty without panic. Stay present instead of self-abandoning, and allowing relations to unfold without controlling outcomes. Okay, so what does this mean? That means that in order for you to really heal, you have to be put in positions of feeling uncomfortable. If you're hurt by a man, but you want to be healed by, but you want to be healed in the area of being around men, you can't just be around girls and dogs and think that's healing that side of you. You have to be around that group of people that these men, the family, the girls, so that you can get a new experience. Because that's how us as human beings, we heal. We begin to no longer react the same. But now we respond in another way, um in a healed way. You feel what I'm trying to say? So, because I have that problem too, y'all. Like, I shut down sometimes when I'm in certain relationships. I just stop talking, or I just don't know what to say, and it's because like I feel uncomfortable. But I'm about to get there with y'all, okay? Because I really want to go deeper into that, but it's going to be about another topic within this podcast, okay? So, signs of healing are rejection hurts, but it no longer defines you. You don't personalize others' withdrawals. You choose peace over chasing validation. You can walk away without self criticism, and you can trust yourself to survive disappointment. Okay? These are all signs of healing from rejection, specifically relational rejection wounds. Okay? So the truth is, relational rejection wounds aren't healed by trying harder in relationships. They are healed by learning you are whole and worthy even when connection fails. When you heal, rejection becomes information, not identity. Okay, that was so powerful right there. Because, like I said, we cannot internalize how other people feel about us because their opinion does not matter when it comes to you and God. You can't take that opinion to the bank. You can't take that opinion to the course of heaven. When your time is up and you sit there before the Father, God's not looking for the people that didn't like you. God's going to look for you. And He's going to judge you and your heart and who you are and what it is that you've done and what you did not do. Okay? So do not internalize people's opinion about you. So now let's talk about how rejection wounds show up in friendships. So some common patterns are always being the initiator. You text first, plan everything, keep the friendship alive. The second one is feeling easily replaceable. When friends get busy, married, or closer to others, you feel discarded. Over functioning, you're the listener, the encourager, helper, but rarely supported back. Difficulty confronting issues. You fear speaking up because conflict might lead to loss. Quiet resentment. You feel unappreciated but don't express it. Okay, so these are all things that can show up in your friendships. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I can name about 3 of these that I still feel like it's in my life low key. Cause y'all, I'm not perfect. I'm human just like y'all. I'm just willing to talk publicly about the things that I go through, okay? So, um, these are all common signs, y'all, and I feel like I have some of these symptoms. But you know what? I feel like I feel like when you have friends and you feel rejected by them, it's so important that you communicate. Because oftentimes they're unconsciously doing the things that they do to make you feel the way that you feel. Okay? So it's so important that you communicate. Now, what rejection feels like here and friendship rejections hit what rejection feels like is friendships rejection hits belonging and visibility, such as I'm not important, people forget about me, I'm only valuable when I'm useful. These are all shame, self-shame, self-abandonment statements. This is you attacking yourself statements, and we gotta cut that out. Okay? So what healing looks like in friendships is you allow mutual effort, not one-sided pursuit. That means that you don't keep overextending your hand and you see that there's no return of your investment, that there's no fruits being bared back to you. You shouldn't be the only one pouring, pouring, pouring and not receiving. It should be an equal exchange, you guys. Okay? Y'all should both benefit from each other, not because you want to perform and to benefit off of each other, but because y'all are friends. Okay? Now, my second point is you stop distancing, you stop taking distance personally without evidence. Communication, once again, you have to communicate. You communicate needs instead of subtly hoping. You communicate needs instead of silently hoping. There it goes again. You let friendships flow without panic. You release friendships that drain you even if they lasted years. That can be very hard for a lot of people because it was hard for me. But you gotta do what you gotta do. You accept that some friendships are seasonal and not permanent. Y'all, sometimes these friendships is meant for a reason and a season, not for a lifetime. Okay, so we have to recognize what friends are before us, and we have to also recognize what friends belong in what circle. Your friendship circle should not be one big circle, and they're all in your closest proximity. It's okay to have certain people in the front and certain people in the back when it comes to their position in your life, right? Because, and this is not to say like some friends are at least important than the other. No, but you have to learn how to categorize your friends. I'm not going to call Eddie, my friend, and he know how to do lawn, but I'm looking for someone to help me when it comes to technology. He don't know nothing about trees. That's still my homeboy. That's still my close friend. I'm gonna still talk to you every day, but I'm not gonna call you for that. I'm not gonna call Tiana because she know because I want to know how to cut hair and to do a fade, but she only knows how to do braids. You have to learn how to categorize your friends, you guys, because every friend also does not mix together. You have to separate your friends and spend time with your friends and not mix all your friends together because not everyone has the same personality type. And me personally, I get along with everyone. I really do. Unless you're really stingy and mean and don't like me, I still love you. But we're just not compatible, and that's okay. You know? So, there's that. Um, what else? What else? What else? What else? So now let's talk about what rejection wounds show up in dating slash romantic relationships. Y'all, I got some things I wanted to talk to y'all about with this one too. I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay? So what it looks like is common patterns is over investing too early. You're emotionally attached fast because connection feels scarce or fragile. Okay, I know I can relate to that one. Okay, back in the day, baby, when I was single girl, I was talking to guys. I felt like I put all my eggs in one basket. I was loving so hard, and then I fell even harder. Y'all, it was the worst mistake ever. Take my advice, y'all, and take your time with these romantic partners, okay? Second point is chasing emotional availability. You're drawn to people who are inconsistent, distant, or unclear. That this sounds like toxic behavior. You're normalizing toxic behavior. Okay, it's because especially if you're giving out a lot onto this one person and they are someone who are inconsistent, distant, or unclear, that can drive a woman crazy. Especially if you're really invested into that man, right? The third point is fear of being replaced or abandoned. Small shifts such as slow replies, cancel plans, trigger big internal alarms. Okay, so like I said, this is fear of being replaced or abandoned. The next point is self abandonment. You minimalize needs, boundaries, or values to keep the relationship. You should never let down your boundaries so someone else can cross them. That don't make no sense. You know what? I done been it before. I was that person that allowed a man, someone to really step over me, to downplay me, to do all these weird, wrong things to me because I wanted to be with them so bad, which is also considered people pleasing. You have to get out the people pleasing spirit, you guys. And my very last point is interpreting rejection as identity. They didn't choose me because I am not chosen. We have to stop talking about ourselves like that. Okay? So, for an example, rejection when it comes to relationships say I wasn't enough. If I was better, they would have stayed. Love never lasts for me. But what healing looks like in dating is you move slowly, you move slower emotionally even when chemistry is strong. You no longer confuse intensity with intimacy. You can tolerate ambiguity without spiraling. You notice inconsistency early and don't explain it away. You leave relationships that require you to shrink. And lastly, rejection still hurts, but it doesn't collapse your self-worth. Amen. Wow, God, thank you for this. I know somebody needs to hear this today, y'all. And so, like, y'all, if you have fallen into one of these things, um, I want you to know that you're not the only one. Okay, I done been there before. It took a very long time for me to stop, like, trying to perceive them under this beautiful light when they're really under a dark light. Once you accept them for what you see, not for what you want them to be, your life will be so much more better off. Okay. And so, something that I just realized about myself, right, is that just recently, I'll be with my partner, right, and we would talk and stuff, but then suddenly, I would feel like I want to get quiet, and I didn't understand why. So, what I learned about that, and the reason why I reacted like that, because I know some of you guys can relate to, is that when closeness intenses, vulnerability intenses, your silence may mean that you're afraid of saying the wrong thing, you don't fully understand your own feelings yet, or you fear being misunderstood or dismissed, and you learn that speaking up didn't lead to comfort before in your prior experiences. So your body chooses to freeze instead of fight or flight. Okay, so that's essentially paralyzing yourself. Okay, and so I don't know who else can relate to that, but I know I cannot be the only one, y'all. Like, sometimes you just gotta just heal. Like, and I feel like people think that you have to be single, you have to be alone to heal. But my testimony is God healed me with my significant other. God used him to heal me. We came together, and that's when my healing process began. Okay, and the same thing with all relationships. You're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have moments where y'all are really after each other's necks. My man and I, my man done did some things that I didn't like, and I done did something to him that he didn't like. And because that happened, it's just like that trauma response, but that's when you need to learn to forgive and to let go. Forgive and to let go, especially if that's your significant other, y'all. Okay, and it's not even just him. Like, I had experiences when in the past, men did me wrong. I tried to say something and then they just completely discard it. And so now it's just like, hey, well, I don't want to talk no more. I just listen. It gets like, okay, cool, yeah, and then not want to talk. Like, you kind of let your way, but that's also a sign of you letting go of that relationship. You're mentally exiting out of that relationship. When someone is mentally invested into something, they will argue with you about it. They will literally sit down with you, crying their eyes out, like, "Look, I want to work I want to work this out with you." But when someone is mentally just like, They emotionally, mentally clocked out, and there's something seriously wrong in in that picture. Okay, so communicate. That's all it really is. Communicate how you feel. Okay. Now, what's really happening underneath the skin is that your nervous system goes into protection mode. When something your partner does feel small on the surface but hits you deeply, your body may be responding to perceived emotional danger, not the present moment. So instead of thinking, this upset me, your nervous system thinks, I'm not safe. I might be rejected. I might not be chosen. So you withdraw love because pulling back feels safer than reaching out. And this distance protects you from being hurt furthermore. Okay? Y'all, I can relate to that, and I'm still healing through that, you guys. Okay? Um, honestly, the solution to all these things is to really communicate. Just communicate. Even when you feel like you can't, you are grown enough to communicate. If they can't accept your communication, then it's probably time for you to go. Okay? They're playing with you and it's time for you to go. Do not stay when you're not being valued. Okay? Now, my next point is old attachment wounds get activated. If in past relationships, romantic or friendships relationships, you learned that expressing needs led to disappointment, closeness resulted in pain, your feelings weren't met or understood, then your system learned when I'm hurt, I shut down. So when your partner does something small, it reminds your body of something old. Your reaction is bigger than the moment because it's layered. That's trauma speaking. That's a trauma reaction. Okay? So, why is this so important to know? Because it's so important to understand why you do things that you do. It's so important to understand why your body reacts the way that it does. Because when you can gain a revelation about why you do things that you do, now you can actually fix your actions. Now you can actually move forward being the best version of yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, next thing is um small things feel big when needs are unmet. Little things hurt more when you already feel emotionally full of unspoken needs, which is true because I have moments too where I don't be wanting to say nothing. Then one day it just bursts open out my mouth. Okay, not good. I don't recommend it. Communication is the number one skill that we should all have. Okay. Second point is you've been minimizing your feelings. You're giving more than you're receiving emotionally. A tiny action becomes the last drop in the cup that's already full. So, um, if you are experiencing these symptoms, comment down below. Like that is me. Like this is this. Like you can relate. Okay. And I know that if you were a girl, baby, if you were a girl, I know for a fact that you know what I'm talking about. I can only speak for the girls, okay? Now I know the men feel the same way too, but men don't think like women. I'm sorry, my brothers in Christ, but y'all do not think like us, and that's okay. That's okay, okay? Don't come after me in the comments now. Anywho, so my next point is to ask yourself, why am I afraid what will happen? What am I afraid that will happen right now? Does this remind me of something older? This will help your nervous system re-anchor to the present. These are reflection questions that you should always ask yourself in moments that you feel stuck, you feel like like oh my gosh, what should I say? What should I do? What should I do? What should I say? What should I do? How what da, 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 da. Like you're scared to come out your shell. Those are two questions that you should always ask yourself. What am I afraid will happen right now? And does this remind me of something old? And whatever your answer is, communicate that to that person. Okay? This helps your nervous system re-anchor into the present. Right? So now, we're going to dive a little bit more deeper. Okay? So, Receiving repair feels more vulnerable than staying distant, right? That means that you're choosing to be uncomfortable rather than being distant. Because when you're away from them, when you're putting the barrier up, you feel safe. But when you're in a position where you're trying to work at the thing together and you're trying to become a better person, it feels uncomfortable. You feel very vulnerable, right? And so letting someone make it right requires trusting they won't hurt you again, letting your guard down, and allowing yourself to be seen in your tenderness, in your softness, in the person that you are organically. Okay, distance feels safer because you stay in control. You avoid the risk of disappointment, and you don't have to reopen the wound. So restriction equals emotional self-preservation. Okay, which really explains a lot, because when you're away from someone, or when you put that wall up and you mentally disconnect, you feel you have everything under control. You know, it's my world, my way or my way or the highway, right? Because I can relate to that, y'all. um there's an unconscious belief that says you should have known. Ladies, gentlemen, but specifically my ladies, how many of you guys can relate to saying you should have known? Why did you do this? Well, you should have known. And when in reality, not everyone thinks like us, you guys. Some people don't have the same common sense that we do. Okay? And that's okay. So we can't expect other people to be someone that they're not because they're not us. Okay? So this is a subtle but this is subtle but powerful. Part of you may feel, if I matter enough, you wouldn't have done this in the first place. So when they apologize, it doesn't fully land. It feels too late. Your heart says you already proved something to me. Pulling away protects you from having to confront that grief. Okay. Um I think that was pretty self-explanatory. I feel I can definitely relate to that a lot, because I feel like when my significant partner does something that I don't like, I definitely do feel like, well, you should have known. Um, and I would have all these negative thoughts, y'all. It'd be the enemy. Okay, so when you have these negative thoughts, that's called the self-sabotage, or that because that's really what it is. That's a self-sabotaging spirit, a Jezebel spirit, coming to cause chaos in your relationships. You need to rebuke that thing in the name of Jesus. Okay, pray, praise, like all these things will help you lift that spirit. All these things, all these holy, righteous acts can lift up that demonic spirit that's trying to attack your heart. I don't know if y'all like me, but like when I feel some type of way, I do be harboring it in my heart from time to time, and then I be like real quiet and drawn away. And then when he does try to come say he's sorry, I'm just like, well, you should have known. You already did this. Like you did this last time. Da, 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 da. It's always that. Y'all, it's not good. Don't be a complaining wife. You can't walk into the old replaying the no, you can't walk into the new replaying the old. Okay? Y'all, do not be like me, y'all, because I'm still learning to become a better person. I'm not perfect, but I know that someone out there can relate, and I just really want to help somebody out there that can relate. You know what I'm saying? And so my next point um is how to soften this without betraying yourself. Pause instead of close. So you don't have to accept closeness immediately. Try saying, I hear your apology. I need a little more time before I can let you close again. I want repair, but I'm just not there yet. This keeps the door um open, ajar, instead of slammed, right? So we're communicating. We are letting the other person know what's really going on. We still are, have our own boundaries to meet, to stick to protect ourselves. But we're also not shut, but we're also not closing that door in that person's face, right, you guys? Because that's still our loved one. We still love them. We just want some time to just heal, like, you know. So a practical way for the healing process to begin is name it initially first. So instead of I'm upset at them, try something in me feels hurt and unsafe right now. So acknowledge it, communicate it to that person. The second thing is name what you need beyond the apology. Often it's not the apology, it's consistency afterwards, reassurance, change behaviors, and gentle presence without pressure. So ask yourself, what would help my body feel safe right now? Okay, and communicate that to the other person. Okay, because I know when you don't communicate, we expect the man, the woman to just read our minds when they are not mind readers and they're not God. Okay, that's just the realistic version, realistic thing that I need you to understand. They're not mind readers, you guys. We have to communicate. Okay? So what healing actually looks like realistically is healing does not mean dropping your guard suddenly, forcing yourself to trust, letting people in before you're ready. Healing means updating your nervous system slowly, letting safety be proven in small, repeated ways, learning that you can protect yourself and stay connected. Okay. So so um honestly, this realistic ways that I'm talking to you about revolves around self improvements and self reflection. Okay, so we have to reflect and acknowledge, communicate. You know, keep your set your boundaries up. If they cross your boundaries, communicate that. Just because you forgive them and that you want to heal from this does not mean that you just get to be like, hey, it never happened. No. Take your time to heal, communicate, talk it out. You know, some people are people that like to be like, let's talk about it later. Me personally, I'm like, no, let's talk about it now. Yeah, but you have different types of people out there. Me personally, I don't want to wait till tomorrow to talk about our problem or later on. I'd rather talk about it now. Now. And my man be like, no, Danae, right now is not the right time. I said, okay, fine. You have to respect their boundaries because some people like their space. And that's just what you're gonna have to do, depending on the depending on the person, but you have to really know them. Okay. So you pull away not because you're cold, but because your heart needs proof before it reopens again. That's not wrong. It just needs language, pacing, and gentleness. So in a way, if you're in a relationship with someone and they mess up, like you can't have the attitude where it's like, I need proof. I'm not gonna talk to you until you correct your actions. Like you want him to replay the scenario again. That's not really realistic, you guys. But it's good to communicate and say like, hey, this hurt me because you did this, X, Y, and Z. I didn't like it. Next time, please don't do it no more. Instead, do this because it really hurt my feelings, right? So don't allow bitterness, insecurity, fear to to block your blessings because you don't really need proof to reopen again, especially if you're in a marriage. Now, if you're in a friendship growing into a intimate partnership, okay, I can see that. Like yeah, you need to see proof before you open up again. Like you have to earn that access to me. You should always make people earn that access to you. But when they're already a part of the inner circle, that's your significant other, that's your spouse, that's your spouse. We have to learn to forgive them. Okay, we are all humans and we make mistakes. And so, what's important to notice about yourself is that you are not rejecting repair because you don't want connection. You are rejecting it because repair feels unsafe before regulation. Your system needs time and safety, not just words, right? So it's important that we set up boundaries. We set up boundaries not for the other person, but for ourselves, so that we can overcome, so that we can heal properly. Okay, and we have to respect the other person's boundaries, their timing, and what it is that they would like to do. Okay, um, because like I said before, healing, accepting someone's apology does not mean um there's not going to be no repercussions. At the end of the day, that person made you feel some type of way. You made that person feel some type of way. So now you have to allow time to help them overcome that thing. Like and apologize, communicate, and just do better. That is really all that you can do. Like that's really all you can do. Um, yeah. It's really good to communicate, you guys. You don't ever want to be that person where someone made you feel some type of way, and then you go hide in the corner and cry to yourself, and then you go back into that person's face that hurt you, and act like then nothing had happened. Baby, you're still hurting, and that wound is gonna get even more deeper because you are scared to tell someone how you feel, and that's because you are people pleasing, and that's because you are scared to speak how you feel because you feel like you opening your mouth up will lose that relationship. My case is closed. So, you guys, that's all that I have for y'all today for the Healing Conversations podcast, Episode 4 on healing from relational rejection wounds, you guys. Okay. And so, y'all got to know a little bit about who I am and all these things and great gems. I really hope that this could help somebody, could edify somebody. I do want to make a special announcement before I close, is that access to my website is now available. Make sure that you check it out at DanaeKatina.org. I am now having sales for my ebooks. I now am doing mentoring and coaching, and I now have an online community where we like-minded individuals like you and I will be joining into one space, a group setting, to do Bible studies, the discussion boards, prayer calls, and so much more, you guys. It is discipleship, okay? I want to get to know you all as my family intimately on a one-on-one in a group setting, okay? Because y'all are my family and I love you so much, okay? And yeah, y'all, if you feel led to support, make sure that you like, comment down below, and subscribe for me for more content like this. And I love you guys so much with the love of Christ, my brothers, my sisters, my trans sisters, my trans brothers, my LGBTQ community, whoever it is that you may be. I love you. 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 Mwah. Get sister out. Have a blessed day, you guys. Toodles. Bye.